Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just wanted to begin this video by just thanking everybody for their well wishes, their duas. Like when I put my Shahada video up, it was purely as a kind of explanation as to why my outward appearance has so obviously changed. Obviously, I'm known for my braids. I'm a hairdresser by trade, so wearing hijab has been like a massive thing for me, but also greatly rewarding. So the response from the Ummah was just astounding. Like I just didn't expect it at all. So Jazakallah, thank you so much, and love to you all. Now, since I put the video up, I have been asked multiple times about my revert story, and like I've put it off simply because I want to be honest, but at the same time being honest is quite painful and quite difficult. So I just needed to figure out how I was going to word it in a way that you know, as I said, I can be honest, but at the same time, like, not totally break down, basically. So I suppose I've got to start with this part to put everything into context. So I'm a survivor of this acronym that I'm going to put up. But I didn't reveal this until a couple of years ago to like family and friends as well, like people that have known me my whole life, basically. And never knew a thing. As a result of this, it kind of broke apart a lot of ties, because obviously, without saying too much, I was still in contact with that person. People that I knew know that person. People that I'm related to know this person. And are still in contact with this person. So it fractured a whole heap of relationships, and it's made me have to really go inside myself and find myself again, basically. As anybody that's been through these kind of situations, like, the revelation part is just a minefield, and within that, like, I kind of went into myself, like, which I tend to do anyway. That is just a personality trait of mine, but just in all the worst ways, if that makes sense. So in the midst of thinking that I was dealing with it, I wasn't actually dealing with it at all. Like, I was smoking a lot, I was drinking a lot, not eating a lot. um that is another thing that I am a survivor of, is an eating disorder. So I just reverted back to very bad habits, basically. Maybe I was punishing myself, I don't know, but that's kind of what the end result was. So when I finally started to see the light of day, basically, and just seeing this as my new normal, whoever was left and still standing by me, which was obviously like my husband, my kids, I would say it was just that, to be honest. Like, to be perfectly honest, they saw me at my worst, and now thankfully get to see me at my best. If it wasn't, sorry, I was getting emotional there, and this is not a video that I want to be bawling in. So yeah, if it wasn't for the love of them, then the other people, like family members that I was still in contact with, they wouldn't get the benefit of the Ria that you see standing here today, basically. You know, I've always had this firm belief in God. I was raised as a Christian, and you know, like a lot of black Jamaicans, you know, in and out of church with my grandparents. Um, once my grandparents passed, then I would kind of like, I was sort of like what I would call like a pagan Christian, basically. So I would celebrate Christmas, but I don't really go to church. I would baptize my children, but after that, I don't go to church. Easter was more about, the egg hunts and that kind of stuff. So that's why I say like the pagan kind of Christian. Like there are Christians that take their faith like very seriously, and like I take God seriously, but I didn't take my religion seriously, if that made sense. So I got to this point now in my life where I'm feeling like, okay, I want to kind of get, on my dean in terms of Christianity, basically. But um so I'm starting to read the Bible now objectively. Obviously, I always went to Catholic schools, so we study the Bible, but obviously we just study whatever they tell us to study in it. So I've never actually read the Bible objectively for myself. So it's only now, as a big old 30-year-old woman, that I'm doing this, and I'm just like, well, that don't make sense, and that don't make sense. Like, was Isaiah 42 or was he 22? Did Judas disembowel himself, or did he hang himself? Like, thinking to myself, like, okay, if there's discrepancies like with small things like that, then how can you trust it like with the bigger things like and the more important concepts? Do you know what I mean? Like, where is the Holy Trinity in the Bible, basically? So all of these questions, and I'm going to Christian scholars for answers, and they didn't have any answers that satisfied my intellect. So this made me become agnostic, just kind of come to an impasse, as if to say, okay, well, clearly this is a corrupted book. And I thought that that was the same with all religions then, because I've grown around Islam. No, I've grown around Muslims. Let me correct that. I've grown around Muslims, but I didn't understand Islam. The area of Birmingham that I live in, like, I, literally played and grown, as I said, with Muslims, but just saw it as another religion. Didn't really understand the differences between Islam and Christianity. Fast forward a couple of years, I've finally, something's just spoken to me and says, okay, well, look into Islam, basically. So I've started to do more and more research into that. And again, anybody that knows me, once I am on something, I immerse myself into it. So I'm like a dog with a bone, basically. So as I'm learning more and I'm seeing, okay, now that makes sense. Like seeing the story of Jesus, thinking, okay, now that makes sense. Adam and Eve, like no original sin, like as a person that has had like children, like many children, I'm just like, I have never looked at any baby that I have had and thought, oh yeah, they're full of sin. Like that has always been like a weird thing to me. So again, that all rang true with me. I was just, okay, so this clearly makes sense to me. So now it's like, what do you do with that? From that point, it probably took me another year. Now, a lot of people now that I've spoken to would say that was shaitan whispering in your ear, telling you like, no, don't do it, stay as you are, keep doing what you're doing, basically. But then I don't know, like I was researching something, and then I don't know if people know, but there's a YouTube channel, Dawah channel, that is called Muslim Lantern. It's presented by a fabulous young man called Muhammad Ali. And the way, like, basically he speaks to Christians, agnostics, atheists, Jews, like, he'll speak to anybody. But what I love about his channel is, like, he don't get angry and he don't get offended. Like, he's very rational, he's straight facts, and like he's so educated, whether it be science, history, like, and he goes in. So any, like, I'm like there just literally blitzing this dude's videos, and any question that I had, it's like he had the answers, basically. And I'm not a person that just takes people's word for it. I go back, I do my own research, and everything that he was saying was true. So now I'm really like, okay, like, now what are you gonna do, Ray? So I spoke to my husband, and obviously I'm not here to tell his story, but he was on a similar trajectory in terms of his faith. A lot of his friends are already Muslim, so they're already were like, "We've been praying for you, dude. Like, you need to just, I don't know what you're doing." Like, so mashallah, we've both hit this kind of point at the same time. Now you've got to bear in mind we've been raising our children as Christians, so this was like our kind of test, basically. Like, are we gonna just stick with what we've taught them because that's what we've taught them, or like, do we let one become a Muslim? Like, I was like toying with the idea of just let my husband, take his shahada, and then like I stay as a Christian until like you know the middle children got a little bit older. We kind of mentioned the idea to some of our children, like there was a little bit of upset. And my children are my heart, so it's like if anything would have stopped me, it would have been that. Prayed on it. I've got to say, I was learning to pray and stuff before I took my shahada, so I'm praying like as a Muslim prayer. And as I was just getting like more and more like engrossed into learning and increasing in knowledge, I was just like, no, I've just got to do this. Do you know what I mean? So I explained to my kids, like, this is what we're doing. Obviously we're not forcing anything on you guys, but when you know right as a parent, then it's your duty to do right. Yeah. So yeah, went ahead with it, and thankfully, it's just been smooth sailing ever since. Like, not only have we increased in faith and in knowledge, like every day is a learning day. Even in my worst moments, like I will pray and I just feel centered again. And alhamdulillah, literally, like, all praise to Allah, because I know that I have tried to stop smoking so many times, and I literally made a promise to myself, or a promise even to God, that I'm gonna stop before my shahada, just to prove that like, I was serious about this. And I know that's another thing, like a lot of people say, like, you're never going to be able to come perfect, and I know I'm never going to be perfect, but that was just one thing that I just wanted to have stopped before I took my shahada. So I think it was about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before I stopped smoking. um and literally haven't looked back, haven't even thought about looking back. I just feel so much lighter, so much freer. I speak to people and they're just like, Ria, you sound really happy, like what's going on, like blah 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? Was it all smooth sailing after I announced? No, like there were certain family members that went absolutely nuts. You know, but again, I knew that this is my truth. Like, I'm not asking you guys to do the same. I'm not, preaching. I'm not judging. Like, this was a major thing. People were like, oh, so you're going to be judging me now? Like, no. Like, do you know how wrong I've been living for how many years? Like, who am I now to turn around to anybody and tell you how to live your life? Like, no, this is just me. Do you know what I mean? And this is what's right for me. But yeah, that's it. That's my story, guys. So I know it's a long one. You might want to times two it. I'll put that in the caption. Um, and it's deep. Do you know what I mean? Like, life isn't easy, but I can honestly say that this is the happiest that I have been in years. Do you know what I mean? And I have been happy, but not truly, freely happy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I've been happy and keeping like darkness in my heart. Do you know what I mean? Like, keeping other people's secrets and keeping other people's misery in my heart. Like, now I am literally free and happy. Alhamdulillah.